This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good. So I'm joined today by the lovely Emma, who is a virtual assistant and property manager. So she's there to clear all your to-do lists and give you the headspace to really do the important things you need to do. So welcome to my channel.
Thank you.
So tell me a bit about your background.
So I've always worked in property. I started working for my father's business when I was like 19, 20, and he was a builder.
Okay.
And so I did everything he kind of chucked at me. So I was decorating, I was helping him plaster, roofing, tiling, like everything.
You get a profit in there.
Yeah. So I was the main decorator, so I did do all that. That was my main job, and I would quote for all the jobs and everything like that. But when we were renovating properties and stuff, I'd have to kind of help him do other stuff. So I kind of learnt bits of other stuff. So that kind of started my interest in property, and so I did that for like 5-6 years. And then we were doing lots of renovations for people that rented out properties, so that kind of like sparked a new kind of interest for me. So then I was like, maybe I can do that. And so I did my qualifications and then started doing a Saturday job in an estate agent to kind of get me into it. And then then I moved to London and did a year and a half of being a property manager for an agent. And then I kind of moved back out of London towards Oxford, where my family lived, and then worked there for about 7 years as a property manager for a letting agent.
So you've literally just always been in property in somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on building sites. And like my school holidays consisted of sweeping up after my dad. Whatever. So yeah, I've always been around that sort of thing.
Yeah. And in terms of becoming a virtual assistant, how did that happen?
So my husband's job moves around a lot, and I wanted a job that I could move around with, and I didn't have to start from scratch wherever I went to. So I was a bit kind of umming and ahhing what I can do, and then my friend told me about a virtual assistant, and I was like, maybe that's something I can like make something of. And so that's how I got into it, and I love it now.
And how long have you been a VA?
For about a year and a half now.
Okay, cool. So some people might have not heard of a virtual assistant, so please describe what VAs do.
So, we work virtually, so we don't have to work with you, we don't have to work in the same town, same city, same country. Like, you could work with a VA anywhere around the world. So it's basically someone that kind of fills in the gaps of what you need for your business. Generally, it's kind of for smaller businesses, but VAs, you can find a VA to kind of do anything, really. Whether it's kind of like social media, like more PA type stuff. So that's kind of like the basics of what most VAs do. It's kind of like the email diary management type stuff. And then lots of other VAs can then build on what other services they do.
And what do your main tasks sort of include?
I do like the basic things like email management, diary management, and kind of keeping people on track and making sure they're doing what they're meant to be doing day to day. And then because I've got a property management background, I kind of end up doing some property management type things, helping people manage the properties. But I also help kind of arrange events as well, like property events and things like that. And kind of whatever needs doing. So it's kind of, I think most VAs are quite good at adapting to. So if I don't quite know how to do it, there's always a solution somewhere, so you just have to find it. So that's kind of
definitely
what I do.
Amazing. There's like so many different like parts to it.
And I think that's why it kind of works for small businesses, is that you can get someone that can help with all the different bits. So you might not need to employ someone full-time to do your social media. But they can also do the other bits and pieces that you need.
Definitely. So at the minute, what types of people are you tending to work for?
People that work in property. And so it could be, I work with some landlords that only have like a handful of properties,
Right,
and they're
okay.
building their portfolios, so they work full time, and so they don't have time to be kind of arranging things during the day, making phone calls, booking in viewings and things like that. So they're kind of like one type of client, and then other clients I have kind of work in property full time, and that's their main business, and so I'm helping them kind of run that and help build it and things like that.
And what's one thing that property investors struggle with the most, do you find?
Staying organised, keeping on top of stuff. So there's just so many little plates that you're constantly trying to keep spinning, and it's very easy for you to kind of concentrate on things you like doing. So like the admin stuff you might kind of forget about, but actually you need to do that, because especially for like if you've got licenses on properties and things like that, you need to be on top of all that, because you'll get hefty fines, and it's not a good thing to be getting into. So also keep on top of leads. So you might kind of not have enough time to keep in contact with people that you previously been in contact with, which could be beneficial to your business. It could be a property that's kind of you've moved away from, that you were interested in buying, but they've kind of then forgotten about it, but actually they could revisit it and it might become something. So there's kind of keeping in contact with different clients and any contacts really that help. So I guess you can do sort of like the follow-ups and things like that, book viewings, and etc. Definitely. And I think a lot of people just get overwhelmed with their emails, and so I kind of take over the inbox and go, right, I'll ask you when there's something that needs I don't know about, so then I can kind of sift off and get rid of kind of the waste of time emails and things like that. So then you're concentrating on like the money making tasks, not faffing around and getting annoyed by emails which are pointless. So I kind of deal with that.
Amazing. So if property developers or investors don't use a VA, what tips have you got for them?
So I think processes, like you need to drill down into your processes. You need to kind of have somewhere a list of actions so you can kind of work through it. So I use Trello a lot. So it's like a to-do list basically. You move things around, color code things, set reminders. I find that really helpful, and like get everything out of your head and onto there. Because there could be an idea that you've forgotten about, and that could have been really worthwhile for you. And kind of having like a to-do list, so like Monday to Friday, and kind of work your way through it and move things around. But I think just trying to find a way that you keep organised and that you're able to stick at it. Everyone's brains work differently, so don't like try and commit to what someone said is a good idea to organise yourself. You need to find a way to do it, and don't ignore the tasks that you don't enjoy all the time.
I do that, and I know I can't do it.
I still am guilty of that. Like I'll have my list of things to do and I'm like, I'll do that later. But I think just do it straight away, and then it's done, and then you can get on with the stuff you like. And kind of set yourself lots of reminders. So like I delay delivery so many emails because I'm like, I need to remember to do that. And even if it's on a list, sometimes I might be like, I'm going to forget it. So I delay delivery all my reminders. So if it's contacting someone, you want to speak to them in like a month's time, then like if you do that, then it comes in and you're like, then your head's not filled with all these, I need to do that. You know it's going to remind you. So stuff like that is, I think, a key thing, I think.
And you mentioned Trello before, which I like literally love. It's so good, isn't it? And I think because like everyone can kind of see your Trello board and you can all connect together.
And it works so well. So like every time you add a team member in, like you can just add them in, and the processes like are there. One of my clients that I work with were really quite process driven, and so we're like, right, we need a new process. And like we always joke like we need a new Trello board. And so you kind of I think that is there's loads of different things out there that you can try and use, but it's free and easy.
Yeah, definitely. And is there any tips you can give on sort of like good systems to put in just to make everything a bit easier?
So I suppose like property management wise, like if you can use like some software or like some sort of CRM that will help remind you, that would be good. There's so many out there, and some you pay more for, etc. But if you're quite small, then you might be able to do it from Trello, and because you can set reminders with it and things like that. So I think having where you can put all the information and it's all saved, and then like if you have a Dropbox or something where you can put all, and then you can share that easily with people that need it. So yeah, I think that's
And you've managed renovations remotely. What is that like?
It's quite hard to get your head around at first when I've been so used to managing them, like when I'm there. So the way I've done it is that my client, the landlord, has been visiting like every week or every other week or something like that. So they're kind of doing the visual check. But I think it's all about having good relationships with the contractors. And little things like just making sure that you talk to them like a normal human being, because I've been on the other end of it as the contractor, and I completely get how like if people talk down to you or kind of demand stuff of you all the time, you don't get the best out of that person. So I think it's a fine balance between being kind of not too friendly with them, but having a respect between each other that they will kind of listen and give you good advice, and like don't quibble over like 20 quid on a price or like 100 quid in I just think you need to remember that's their business as well, and so while you need to make sure that you're looking at your finances and what returns you're getting, at the end of the day this person is helping you make that money, and you want them to keep working for you, because finding another contractor is such a pain, and you have to start from the beginning and things like that. So I think just building up a good relationship with them and just checking in with them and asking for photos and videos and things like that is quite a good way of kind of, and also understanding when's a good time to talk to them. Some people are better if you catch them at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, or like try and work out how they work and then try and fit in with them. So if you're calling them like mid-afternoon when they're in the middle of something, they're just gonna like, go away, Emma. So
can you not?
Some people work better on WhatsApp, some like just try and work it out and then kind of work to their strengths, and then I think you kind of get the best out of that person. So I think each person is very different, so it's just kind of understanding that, and
And have you got any tips on selecting a good tradesman and where to find them?
I don't know, I don't think there's like an exact rule to it, so I've spent a lot of time kind of trawling through like Chuck a Trade and all those types of things, to kind of get one aspect of them. You can't go by everyone's reviews all the time. You can't please everyone, and so all the time, and also when people don't have the right understanding of how a house is built or how electrics are put in, the client sometimes has unreasonable expectations, and that's why there might be bad reviews, because they haven't understood actually what the contractor's able to do. So so I kind of read them to kind of have an overview. I mean, if they've had like years worth of like 5 stars, then they've got to be doing something right and stuff like that. So kind of doing that. I kind of asked in lots of Facebook groups, like property groups and stuff, search for that person's name as well, see if you can find anything like that. So you kind of like digging around, looking on different things like Company's House and all sorts, just trying to see if you can find any bits of information you can piece together.
Like you've really got to go in and sort of
and so there's kind of lots of bits that you can then piece together to kind of get a picture, and you can tell by when you speak to them on the phone. I kind of what they're like a little bit. And then if you can meet them, then great, if you're nearby, or if your client can go meet them to kind of start that relationship, then I think that kind of definitely helps. But yeah, so and also it's like contractors change their levels throughout, like sometimes they get a bit complacent and stuff like that. Yeah, you kind of have to keep on top of that a bit.
Have you had any bad experiences with contractors?
Yeah. Yeah, a few. Nothing like too bad. You just kind of, it's more like, especially when you're dealing with tenants, and like contractors just you going in when they weren't meant to have gone in, or which is really annoying. Or I don't know, leaving a mess in the houses they've been working in, like using their toilets and not cleaning them. Like dealing with complaints like that is like, oh god. And then I mean, I've seen some shocking work done by like contractors sometimes, like they just bodge things together and then hope that they wouldn't come back on them and stuff like that. But that doesn't happen too often. I've only had that occasionally. I think the main thing is just them turning up when they're going to say they're going to turn up. I get it, like your day doesn't always pan out and they're driving around in traffic and stuff, but when you've got tenants waiting in for them and things like that, it's a bit of a pain. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's too many shocking things.
Good. I guess because you're quite experienced generally, you're less likely to end up with like complete cowboys.
I'm hoping so. I think it's just judging the situation a little bit, and if they're suggesting certain things to be done and you're like, whoa, that's completely not right, then you kind of just move away from them.
So of all the people in a property investor's power team, who would you say is the most important?
The VA. Just to kind of keep you organised on track. I say so many different people have different like major benefits to you being able to do well. I think having good contractors is kind of like that team of people is kind of critical for you to be able to pull off jobs on time, like renovations and things like that. Whether they can jump when you say, I've got water coming through my ceiling and stuff like that, they're going to be the ones that are going to save you money in some ways. And then I suppose having a good mortgage broker and tax accountant and stuff like that is kind of another key thing to you financially kind of doing well. Yeah,
definitely. So can you tell us about any changes you've seen in the rental market over the past few years?
So there's just legislation coming in all the time. So it's really kind of, you really have to keep up with what's going on. The government is definitely clamping down on landlords, like they're trying to make it a bit harder. And so there's kind of a lot of that happening. And then I think having like the tenant fee ban and things like that, that's it's starting to change things. There's going to be more like letting agents have to be accredited coming up and things like that, which I think is brilliant, because anyone could set up as a letting agent with no experience and then just manage all these people's assets, which I just think is ridiculous. So I think it's really good that there's going to be more kind of, because I've done my qualifications and things like that, and I think it's really important that the people you're dealing with in letting agents have an understanding of actually the law behind what they're doing. And they could be missing out on things, and like you could end up, you as a landlord, even though you're employing a letting agent, you're the one that will get fined, sent to prison because something hasn't been done. So I think it's really important that's coming in. I think there's going to be a lot more every year. There's going to be so much more legislation, more rules, more this. So it's going to make it harder to make a profit because you're going to be eating away at your kind of figures, but hopefully it will provide a better standard of property that are out there, because there are so many landlords that are just kind of winging it. So it might be better for the market probably.
Definitely. And have you had any developers or landlords use licensing as opposed to an AST?
Not really, no. I think most of my clients have used ASTs.
Yeah. Do you know what the difference is between licensing and?
Yeah, so the AST is you've got the document and everything like that. So you're kind of you've got the fixed term and everything like that. Whereas licensing is a lot more vague, and you don't have to kind of stick to as many rules and things like that. Right, so it's quite different. And yeah, I haven't had any user license, to be honest. I was just trying to wrap my brains, trying to think, have I had any? And like, no. Everyone's used ASTs. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like licensing seems a bit rogue.
Yeah, I think I don't really see why you would, and I can see you're kind of opening yourself up for things to go wrong a bit more, and also for both parties, like I think it's just better.
Yeah. ASTs just seem a bit safer.
Yeah, a lot safer. Yeah.
So with all the things that you kind of manage, so it could be a HMO, it could be a renovation, etc. What's kind of your favourite?
Ooh, it kind of, I like the variation. Yeah. So I wouldn't say I got a kind of favourite. I kind of like the kind of being involved in different aspects of it, looking after property and the property business. Yeah. So I quite like the kind of client side of things, so dealing with clients, like my clients, if that makes sense. Yeah. Also building, I kind of like the building relationship type thing, so I quite like, even with tenants, contractors and things like that, I quite like building that relationship so that they kind of trust you, and then as things run a lot more smoothly. Yeah. So I quite enjoy doing that. I quite enjoy organising stuff, really. That's why I do what I do. Yeah. Like keeping people on track and kind of achieving goals. Like we're trying to set a goal of, right, I want to have bought this many properties by this point. So I try and keep them on track. So it's quite good working like that, really. Oh, so.
Cool. And do you invest yourself?
So I am going to be looking at doing that this year, but just trying to concentrate on where, because obviously my husband's job moves around, so we're just trying to work out where. But obviously, because I work virtually, I'm incapable of doing it virtually anywhere. So exactly. We're just trying to work out at the moment. So, you've already
got the skills that like someone like me needs. Like I can't do like all the admin and bits and bobs like that, but you've already got those skills.
Yeah, exactly. So I think. And that will definitely, my husband's not like that either, so that will definitely be my job of dealing with all the admin and everything.
Yeah,
like that,
so. So what are your predictions for the property market in 2020?
Ooh, I don't know.
Does anyone know?
I feel like, I think everyone can kind of hedge a guess at what might happen, but I think we just gotta roll with it and just see what's happening, and I think just keep going with what you're trying to do, and you just have to be able to adapt. I think as long as you've got lots of options, you're not stuck in one, like people get kind of stuck in one strategy and stuff like that. I think if you can adapt, and if something was to go wrong, are you able to like revamp it and still make money other ways and stuff like that? Yeah. I think as long as you can do that, you just got to go with it and see. Yeah. I don't know. Whoever knows.
And if people want to find a VA, specifically a property VA with like a lot of property experience, where should they go?
I would go on LinkedIn. Yeah. I think that's kind of a good place to start. You can search for property and kind of things like that. You can go on Facebook. Most VAs will kind of have their own kind of Facebook page, business page as well. There are loads of different sites where you can employ people through them. So the benefit of doing that is that they will kind of provide someone continuously. So if someone's on holiday or anything like that, they will just kind of keep providing the work. You can also employ someone directly, like I'm employed directly. So I've been to networking events and things like that, so that's kind of how I've met loads of people. So I think, and just ask people as well, kind of get recommendations, like again with like the contractors, ask them property groups, has anyone worked with a VA? And then if you can go by someone's recommendations, that's kind of saving you the time of testing them a little bit as well. So yeah, I think they're kind of the main aspects.
Cool. Is there anything else you wanted people to know or you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I think just a VA can kind of help you build your business, and you don't have to employ them full time.
Yeah.
So you can just pay them by the hour. You can kind of put them on a retainer, so you can say I want you to work for 10 hours a week for me, and they'll keep that time free. So yeah, there's different ways of making a VA fit in with how you work, which is different to working with someone when you're employing someone, where you don't have to pay a VA holiday or anything like that.
Yeah.
So kind of they're the benefits. So when some people kind of cite how much they charge per hour, kind of think about it. Some people are like, whoa, that much? But you're like, well, actually, if you think about it, I've got to pay my tax and everything out of that. You're not paying PAYE out of any, you don't have to do anything like that. So kind of think about it a bit like that as well. You don't need to be doing certain tasks all the time. Some people are kind of control freaks over their business, which is good, but you need to recognize kind of what tasks you should be doing. General admin stuff isn't making you any money necessarily. So you need to be kind of looking at where you want the business to be. And I always kind of say, like, over a week, write down everything that you do, like anything, whether it's kind of like cleaning. Like, you don't need to have a cleaner. You can get a cleaner, but then you have to kind of work out, do I need to spend my hours doing that? It's just kind of write down a list and then kind of take out tasks to make a list for a VA, and then be like, right, I have this many hours in the week, can I fit in my tasks in that? And if not, you need to take more out. And so I don't know, it can be a bit daunting kind of employing someone and being like, oh, I'm paying you and that's taking money out of my profit, but you're kind of stunting your growth because you're not functioning as well as you could be possibly. So I think just kind of that's the main thing of thinking about it, and just if you have processes in place, then it makes it easier to employ a VA as well, because you can be like, right, this is the process, go and do it. And we find that if you do videos of how to do the process, then you can just like send it to anyone, any point, and say this is how you do it, and then we visually can understand it. Which can work quite well if you employ someone, say, abroad. They might not necessarily understand how you've written it, so if you can show your screen and show them around, they can visually see, I do this, this, and this.
So I guess VAs are good for when you need to offload the tasks that aren't that important for you.
And we won't realise actually how many things you can offload until you start doing it. Most people say, oh, I only want this many hours at the start, and I'm like, I'm like, you need way more than that. I'm like, okay, we'll start with that, and then within a couple of weeks they're like, oh we've got so once you get in the swing of it, then you'll really see the benefit of it, and then if they were to leave, then you'd be like, oh no.
Definitely.
So
can you come and work for us?
I'm so busy at the moment. But
cool. Oh, it's been really good. I feel like this is really good advice for people who want to scale up their business.
I think you kind of get to a point where you're like, I actually can't do it, I can't build this anymore. And especially if you're working, doing another job as well, like trying to juggle all of that, I think,
like when it gets to the point where you're maxed out, it's like, just get help.
Definitely. And there's no and also you're utilising other people's time, that you don't have, so
cool. Oh, thank you so much.
It's okay.
So thank you guys so much for watching. If you wanted any advice on using a VA and what it's like, then feel free to contact Emma. Where can people reach you?
So I'll put my email address and everything, but you can contact me through Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So,
cool. I'll make sure I leave links in the description bar below. But thank you so much for coming on my channel. I feel like people will find this useful.
Good.
Cool. And thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Leah_Miller, and I'll see you next time. Bye. And you've managed Well. So have you got experience? Oh, don't ask that. let me word it in a different way. So what are your predictions?